what was a shock when I went back home was, this is going to seem really minor, but people actually waiting for the light to cross the road.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hong Kong has several beaches, nice beaches, but they're really polluted, especially in summer. They
Yeah,
are
I think,
beautiful, but the water though
yeah.
can be a bit nasty. Hi, my name's Mia. I'm from Australia and I've been in Hong Kong 1.5 years now.
I'm Jesh. I'm from the UK and I've been in Hong Kong for about 5 months now.
What is your guys' first impression of the culture shock in Hong Kong?
So, for me, I came here when COVID was still very big here. I came about 5 months ago when they were still doing quarantines, and you had to stay in a hotel for a few days before you could move on, and it was very overwhelming those first few moments when you land. It kind of felt like you were being transported to a different world.
Is that because in London, where you were from, they didn't have
Yeah.
any COVID rules anymore, right?
No, they didn't.
So coming back, it
yeah.
was like that shock of going back to the old rules.
Yeah.
When I came, it was in 2021, so Australia still had a lot of rules. So I was used to being in an environment which had COVID precautions. So for me, I was actually okay with it. So people were surprised, thinking like I wouldn't like Hong Kong, and I was like, no, it was better than Australia at that point. And I think the biggest culture shock, because I was living here, was just the housing environment. Like there's a lot of people in Hong Kong, and the houses and apartments here are quite small. Compared to places like Australia. So that was like the biggest shock, because my quarantine hotel was quite large, and then when I moved, because that was just the situation at the time, then when I moved into my actual apartment, it was just so small. So that was the biggest thing I had to get used to.
Yeah, I'd kind of prepared myself for the whole housing thing, and I knew
Yeah.
that housing would be a lot smaller than what I'm used to in any other parts of the world.
Mm.
So I kind of prepared myself for that mentally, and I was like,
expect the worst.
yeah, exactly.
What did the culture shock experience change your perception of Hong Kong?
I don't think it did that much, because I still have like a positive perception of the city. I don't think any cultural shock really changed that. I kind of expect it to be kind of challenged culturally, and because I went into it with my mindset, my perception hasn't really changed.
What about you, Mia?
I think if I'm talking about apartments, then I noticed a lot of my friends and generally you tend to become quite determined to do well, and people in Hong Kong are quite ambitious because they want to have a higher standard of living. If you aren't trying to do better or get a higher salary, you're limited into your accommodation, so it kind of puts a pressure. So I think Hong Kongers, my perspective, which I didn't really know about, was how ambitious people are and motivated they are to work well and do better.
Feel the same?
Yeah, the kind of ambition here, it motivates you, and because I'm studying right now, I find it in a lot of my classes. People are very ambitious, and it pushes you in like a really good way, which I love.
So, what is the major differences between Hong Kong and your hometown?
I mean, for me, first of all, the public transport is way more convenient here. Like the trains, the metro come a lot faster.
Yeah.
The buses are better. You've got the minibuses, the ferries. Like Sydney, which is the biggest city, is a much slower network and not as intense.
Yeah, for me, the public transport is cleaner here, and
Yeah.
I've been taking that for granted. I went back and I was shocked at how dirty some of the seats are,
Yeah.
how infrequent the buses are, like how poorly everything runs compared to in Hong Kong, where it's just so much. Where taking public transport is a much nicer experience.
Yeah, this is definitely true. There's so much cleaner.
So there are many differences between your hometown and Hong Kong, and how long did that take you to adapt to Hong Kong's environment?
It didn't take me that long to adapt, actually, because I'm quite used to like big city environments anyway. It kind of started to settle in well. I don't know whether that's the case for you, but
Yeah, I think so as well.
Yeah.
It's something that came quite quickly. I got adjusted to. I think it just takes a few days of being in a new environment and you're used to it and you forget what it used to be like before until you go back home and you realize trains come every 20 minutes, not 2 minutes, and then you're like, wow, I'm not used to this anymore.
You did forget about it very quickly. London's kind of made me used to that kind of rushing environment, so that
Yeah.
wasn't really like a shock to me. Like,
Yeah.
what was a shock when I went back home was, this is going to seem really minor, but people actually waiting for the light to cross the road.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because that's like, that's just not as much of a thing. Like, you see the green man, you just kind of ignore him.
Yeah.
So like, but here, and like, people actually wait
Follow
even
the
if there's
street rules.
even there's no cars on the road,
Yeah,
right? So like,
and I'm always surprised by that.
yeah, like,
Because I'm like, there's clearly no car. I think people follow the rules a lot more. Even when
Yeah.
you're going on the escalator, people stick to the right.
yeah, that I appreciate.
Even when you exit the train and come into the train, people tend to stay on the side to let people come out first.
Yeah.
Most of the time, there might be like an auntie who's trying to rush in, but generally, people kind of wait and then they go in.
And queues will just automatically form.
Yeah,
Like,
people
there's
have
no-
this natural instinct to line up.
Yeah. Are there anything you don't like in Hong Kong?
There's not too many, but I would say maybe just getting a taxi can be a little bit difficult. I generally will order an Uber, then try hail a taxi because
Yeah,
some are patient and you can communicate where you want to go. But some, if it's really late at night, some just won't take you home or they won't go to certain areas, or there are these subtle rules that I didn't know about when I first came, like taxis that are driving on the Hong Kong Island will only drive on Hong Kong Island, and then there's the ones that will cross to Kowloon, and it's really hard, for me at least, to figure out which is which. I would say the other thing, which I can't get too mad about because it's a big city and this just happens in big environments, which is Hong Kong has several beaches, nice beaches, but they're really polluted, especially in summer.
yeah.
And it's like, I mean, I kind of just like, well, that's just a big city, but I think it is a bad thing, but I don't know if they can really fix it.
Yeah,
I don't know. They
yeah,
are
I think-
beautiful, but the water though
yeah.
can be a bit nasty. But you still swim, but you're a bit like getting
You-
oil on your body, and you're a bit like,
Yeah, you're a bit cautious in the water.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
what's this on me?
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah.
know?
Have you made a trip home since you've been in Hong Kong?
Yes, yeah, I have.
Yeah, I was able to go back after about a year when the rules were a bit easier.
Did you guys have reverse culture shock when you came back?
Not that much. I mean, there are little things like, there are little things that I think maybe waste. Like, I'm kind of miss the food, honestly.
Oh,
Like, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, London has a great food scene, but I also like kind of just miss like like I don't know, like grabbing something from a Chinese bakery in the morning.
I think a few things that came to mind, which we spoke of, was the transport taking so much longer in Sydney, and also Sydney being so much bigger, whereas everything in Hong Kong is almost in walking distance. Even grabbing your food and your groceries, this is always a supermarket somewhere. Things stay open quite late here, whereas in Sydney things open a lot earlier. I remember at the time, Australia didn't have the mask rule anymore, or it was like, I think it was only in certain places you had to wear it. And I got paranoid because in Hong Kong, if a police officer sees you without a mask, or even if someone on the street, they'll remind you to put your mask on properly. And so when I saw police officers in Australia, I had this like PTSD, like I was gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
And my friends were like, "Yo, calm down, like chill, like you don't need to wear the mask anymore." And I was like, I don't know, man. I feel like I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Also, another thing that I thought of was going out in Hong Kong. Going out in Hong Kong is you feel so safe.
Yeah.
You feel so safe, no matter how late it is, no matter if you're by yourself, whether you're a girl or a guy, or if you've had something to drink or not. It feels so safe. There's so many people around. So that I had that reverse culture shock that I should be a bit more cautious when I'm in Sydney. Or if you leave your bag, like generally no one's gonna pinch it. Like in Hong Kong, if you put it down for like a second, or you're not paying attention to your valuables. I've never been like robbed in Hong Kong, and I never feel like I'm gonna get robbed. But I think in Sydney I will be a bit more cautious, like just in general.
That's something I still haven't gotten used to. I still take my bag with me when I'm still moving anywhere in like a room. Because I that's something I like. I know someone's not going to steal it, but like in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, what if, you know? But like
I got used to it. I'll be like at a Starbucks and I need to go to the bathroom and I don't want to move my stuff because I'm working. And I'll just say to the person next to me, like, or even if there's not someone there, I'll just run to the bathroom and come back because I just know no one's gonna take it, which is so crazy. And
Yeah.
it sounds silly, but I always tell my friends, it's Hong Kong. Like this just does not happen.
yeah,
I want to go check the statistics because maybe I'm being a fool, but like I'm
yeah,
pretty sure it's like
maybe
it's
just because it
safe.
doesn't happen to me,
Yeah.
I'm like, or like any of my friends, they're just like, yeah, we think Hong Kong's safe.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe it
is.
isn't.
If I go back, I definitely will probably make the
Yeah.
mistake of being too non-guarded.
Yeah,
So generally, you guys love Hong Kong.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
so.
Generally, I'm settling in nicely here. I don't think I have a window on my stay, obviously. So, will I come back here? Depends what the future holds for me, really. But I have really loved my time here.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Hong Kong's a great place to meet people, and you meet people from so many different cultures that you would not have expected to have met. And so it's more about, I think, the people that make the place less than the place itself. The people who you surround yourself with, the things you get up to make it really enjoyable, and that's kind of why you choose to stay. So yeah, so far I'm loving it.